You're listening to the Celtic Soul Podcast with me, Andrew Milne. And as always, you're very welcome to the show. It's episode 12 already. My guest on the show today will be former Celtic striker Frank McAvennie. This episode has been kindly sponsored by the Rue Glen Country Club Hotel Waterford. I'd like to say thank you very much to John and his staff for the continued support of the fanzine over many years. And the fixtures are finally out. Celtic will kick off the season by raising the Champions flag behind closed doors before taking on Hamilton at Celtic Park. It's an unusual kick-off time, 4:30pm, no doubt to accommodate TV. Looking at the August fixtures as a whole, we only get one 3pm kick-off at traditional time, which a lot of us still enjoy on a Saturday afternoon. That will be at home to Aberdeen, which will be a tough out game. The Dons will kick off their season almost 24 hours before us when they take on the Rangers in Pittodrie. No pressure, Johnny Hayes, but we need you to do us a favour. Kick off that weekend in style. October the 17th is penciled in for the first visit of Rangers to Celtic Park, or Det Rangers, or Sevco, or the Tribute Act, whatever you want to call them. That game may be on the 18th because of TV. We'll wait and see. But hopefully, and I really mean hopefully, we can get into the stadium to watch that one. Get behind the boys, take 3 points and put us on the road to 10. We've also got a couple of Friday night games to look forward to. And again, hopefully we can be in the stadium and on the road on a supporters bus up to Perth for the St Johnstone game in October and then over to Motherwell in November. There will be no trip to Dubai in January for the players this year as the winter break has been scrapped for this season anyway. Our last home fixture before the split will be the weekend of the 20th, 21st of March when the Rangers are back in paradise. That's after we visit them on the 2nd of January for the traditional New Year's game. For the first time in years when the fixtures were released, I haven't spent the day booking flights, maxing out the credit card on hotels and car parks. It's always a pleasure to get back to Glasgow and hopefully we can start planning our trips sooner rather than later. And here's how I got on earlier on when I chatted to Frankie Boy.
Frank McAvennie will be forever remembered for being he played in the Centenary season when he would help Celtic to a double. I first met Mac in Canada at the Windsor Celtic Supporters Festival a number of years ago with William McStay and an unknown comedian, Kevin Bridges. I wonder whatever happened to him. And since then, I've had the pleasure of interviewing Macca on stage and for the fanzine on a number of occasions. Hello, Macca. You're very welcome to the Celtic Soul Podcast.
Thank you. Thank you very much. It's great to be on here, son. It's great to see you again.
How has lockdown been for you?
Yeah, it's been all right. I've stayed off a drink, believe it or not. I decided that I would stay off a drink when it went into lockdown, but I didn't think it was going to be this long. So I'm struggling a wee bit, but it's all right. I put a lot of weight on because I'm eating an awful lot. I didn't realise you could eat that much. So, and I've never watched TV so much in all my life, Andrew, to be honest with you, but it's all right. It's coming out it now, so we're getting there. I can see the light at the end of the tunnel. And I'm back in the golf course, which is the main thing.
Oh, brilliant. You'll be back out with Big John Hartson soon.
Yeah, I'm playing him this week. Playing him me and him's got a double or a match with some guy. I don't know if it's four or just the three of us. But yeah, playing on Thursday. So it'll be good to see the big man. I've not seen him for a couple of months.
You'll be looking forward to that then, yeah?
Yes. He's a good lad. You know him. John's a good lad. So yeah, he's good fun.
Did the fixtures come out today, Macca? Did you have a chance to look at them?
I've not had the chance. No, the first game home to Hamilton. That's a good 3 points right for the start, and put the youngsters out. It's a good one. It'll be a good one because that other mob's will be up to Aberdeen. That's brilliant. I love that.
And you know, Johnny Hayes might do us a favour.
Yeah, that'll be great. I mean, that's a good game for them because they'll get beaten that one.
You think so?
No, they've not bought anyone that's making me scared for next season, Andrew.
No, so you're happy enough with the way it is at the moment?
Yeah, well, the papers are doing the usual thing, aren't they? Eddie's signing for Crystal Palace. I'm like, what? He's better than that. He's a lot better than Crystal Palace. If he wanted to go to Crystal Palace, I'd rather, if he had to move just for the money. But I don't think Celtic need the money now, do they? Especially with 10 coming up.
It's too big of a season. Look, I'm sure if a club came in with ridiculous figures, he would go, but hopefully they won't. And as you say, Crystal Palace, I'm
going to go to a team like that. I would rather him go to West Ham if that was the case. But he's not going. He's bigger than that. I think he's a bigger player. You know, I thought Dembele was going to go to Man United, but they've just unearthed this young boy, haven't they? Greenwood. So God knows where they got him from. But 18-year-old and he's 5 goals in 2 games. Not bad. Not bad for a kid.
Especially players coming through such these big clubs. It's hard for young people to break through. Like obviously Eddie was, like, when he came in, he was on the bench. Dembele was obviously in ahead of him, Griff. But he came off. I remember when he came off the bench in Ibrox, he was outstanding, and you can see his physical strength. Like, as a striker, Macca, how has he impressed you?
He's impressed me. I think this is going to make a bold statement. I think he could go and actually be a better player than Dembele. I think he could be. I think he's got everything. He's got pace. He's got the physical strength, and he holds people off, and he's great touch, left or right. So he's a player that I enjoy. And I think, maybe it's just me, old-fashioned, but I like when they play 2 up front. And I just think that Big Bully, God rest him, he used to say, we just go for it. If they scored 2, we'll score 4 and all that kind of stuff. That was how we played. And it was great to watch, I suppose, for the fans. But I like when Eddie's playing with Griff, because Griff likes to sit on the shoulder of the last man, and Eddie comes short. He can go long. He can do, causes umpteen problems, which is great to watch. Obviously, I look at strikers, and I'm very impressed with the boy, And I think Lenny will give both of them a chance, I think.
With the signing with Mo Elanusi, and obviously Mikey Johnson's there, I think we'll see him go 1 up top in some games with, one of them behind, and then he'll definitely go with 2 up top in some of the games, because it worked so well when he came back from Dubai.
Well, you know what? Elanusi was missed, I think. They try to play Mickey and Johnson in different positions, and I think the boy's still trying too hard. I think he's not releasing it when he should be, and I think he's trying too hard, because he played a couple of games. I didn't do his confidence any good getting played up front on his own at Ibrox. He wasn't getting any service, and he's not Eddie. He's not a big boy. So when the ball goes to Eddie, he holds it. Unfortunately, Mickey's not there yet. But great for the future. But I think Elanusi will play left. Definitely play left. And even if it's a 4 or a 5, I think he's a great signing. I really do. I think he's a player.
And a good bit of business as well. He's coming in on loan, and then you can have a look and see, is he injury prone? Is he going to get injured again?
Yeah, of course.
I think it's a good bit of business for the club, and
I think it's a good bit of business. I'm disappointed in Fraser not coming up, because he's not going to get a game down there.
And I see just recently Lennon saying that it's in Fraser's court. Southampton are willing to do business.
Well, I think, listen, I don't get it. If he goes to a big, a middle of the table down in the Premiership, fine. I think he's a good keeper, but it could create a wee bit of history, and just, I think that the boys want to sort of sell out because he's older. I think he wants to go somewhere rather than on loan. And I can understand it, but the money they're getting nowadays, Andrew, I don't get it. But the money he's made during the game, so it was all right for us wanting to get that signing on fee. I think they need that nowadays, do they? The money they're getting, I think they should be set for life. So I understand that it's his last move, but I just think that what's on offer at Celtic, and it's not about money, because what's on offer at Celtic this year could just sign his fate for forever be there, get a foot in the wall and all that kind of stuff, so it'll be good.
Yeah, it's funny, when I had John on the podcast, they were the 2 players he spoke about. He said it was very important that Eddie didn't move, and it was very important that Fraser Forster was signed. And I think Muse know the game inside out, and it doesn't change. And I think it's the same with the fans. But again, I can't see the club being held to ransom.
Yeah. I don't know, they were talking about Joe Hart, but you know what? I thought he was a great keeper, but when he went to West Ham, he was hopeless. And he went to Burnley, he was hopeless. And I don't know if it's maybe a change if he was to come up, because he's got that in him to be a great keeper. He's got the saves in him, he's got the bottle, and he can, he's not as good at feet as, and that was why he left Man City, because he wasn't as good, starting the attacks. But I think Lenny wants that. He wants to keep it to be a goalkeeper. I think he's balling about a centre-half, is he? I think he wants him to just launch it when he can, or play it when he can. So I think it would come up here and it'd be a new. But if he was to come, I wouldn't mind him, because he's definitely an international player as a goalkeeper. But he just needs somebody to get that out of him again, because it's there. And if Fraser didn't sign, I wouldn't be too too unhappy if Hart came up, because he's not been playing well. Didn't do it at West Ham, as I say, but I think coming up and just walking into the size of Celtic, the sheer size of the club, and then give him a couple of days to take it all in, then I think it'll just give him, that spark to rise again. I mean, he runs out of 60,000 fans, if that can bring the best out in you, I don't know what can.
You look at when Craig Gordon came up, Macca, it was a player that was injury prone. I think he came up to play he probably came up on a pay-as-you-play contract. I'm not sure what it was, but it certainly wasn't a big contract. And he goes on to have 3 brilliant seasons at the club.
Yeah.
He was one of the invincibles. So, the quality is there with Hart. I don't know if it's paper talk or if he is actually speaking to the club, but I'm sure with Fraser Forster, there's also a plan B and a plan C.
Yeah. Well, I get told there was 2 centre-halves coming in as well. Whether that's true, I don't know. I would like to see another centre-half anyway, that's for sure, coming in with one of them's left, and it's Simonovic is left.
Yes, he's gone.
So I'd like to see somebody coming in. I'd like to see a big centre-half. I'd like to see the boys are all right at centre-half, but, they get a wee knock, like Julian or Raya, then you've got the big boy at right back. I can't remember his name. I'm going to try and pronounce it. The boy that was...
El Hamid.
Yeah, El Hamid, that's the one. He can play centre-half because he's a big lad.
Yeah, but again, he's in his injury problems as well.
I know, he's got an injury problem, so they've got the boy Frimpong there. So, listen, he's up and down the park, but I like the boy. I like El Hamid. I liked him as a player. He's a throwback. He's a defender first rather than just going forward. He knows how to defend. And, when I played up to recently, defending was an art. And a lot of teams try and forget that now. And they just want to go forward all the time and playing. I think even the referees, when you put a tackle in, I'm thinking, what a great tackle, and they're giving fouls for it now. And I think tackling, being a centre-half, can't be easy playing against forwards. So you've got to get your foot in, haven't you? So I would like to see one more coming in, because Ayer and Julian, no matter how good they are, I don't know if they've coming up against it. They find it difficult coming up against Dykes when they're playing him at Livingston. Maybe the plastic, Andrew, I don't know. They don't like the plastic, maybe, because he gave him a roast a torrid time, didn't he?
But Livingston, hats off to them. There was
it's not just Dykes. I think Livingston. I've been a couple of times to Livingston, and you just don't expect to see them. They bullied the midfield. They bullied the centre halves, and I'm thinking, well, anybody like that, because we all know what Neil's game is. He likes to get in about it when he was playing. So, and there's no way he's not telling him all week what to expect, and then to go out and so I think that's a shock to the system when you go to somewhere like Livingston, big plastic pitch. But listen, it's the same for everyone. You've got to be prepared for that and get in there. So I think this year, Julian and Ayer will be ready for that. Hopefully they've toughened up and they'll be ready for that, and they can stand their ground against big centre forwards. That I thought they'd done better against Aberdeen, the boy Cosgrove. Maybe because Cosgrove, he's not as mobile as Dykes, but I think he's a big physical boy up front. I used to laugh at John and say, what would John Hartson be like playing against our boys? That's why, I try and judge it like that, because Big John is a handful.
Oh, yeah.
And that's what you want to do. You want to play against the best so you can judge. And I do like the two boys. I'd like to see them toughen up a wee bit.
And when you were playing, you spoke about, when the fixtures came out, was it take it as a game-to-game basis, or did you look down the line and say, right, when are we playing Rangers?
Yes, that was the first one when you knew that. When I played, it was happening. Listen, back in the Centenary team, you put them on paper, the team Rangers had was incredible. And I know that they had all this money coming in for different places, but just as a player to play against these kind of players was great. It brought the best out of me. And I love playing against them. But, we went to Ibrox, we knew we beat them there. There was one point I get sent off 14 minutes. That was my first game at Ibrox. The second one, we beat them 2-1. Paul McStay scored. And that day we realised we were going to win the league. That was the day we realised that we were. There was a couple of big results for us. Going to Aberdeen and beating them up there and beating Rangers at Ibrox, and I think it was March. That was when we realised. I think Chris Morris got married on the Sunday of the row. So, silly boy. But anyway, It was a good party. But it was a good party after beating Rangers on the Saturday, so it was very good.
Brilliant. Now, this time of the year was pre-season, Macca, and I spoke to John, Paul, Scott McDonald. They hated pre-season because they loved the summer off. They loved a couple of points. Now, John had said it's different now because the players come back so fit now with European football so early. Like you like the good night out. It must have been hard after the summer coming back, wasn't it?
Well, listen, the way I looked at it, when you go back, listen, it doesn't matter how fit you are. It's going to be grueling and it's going to be hard. So I used to go away for a month and come back, and I know I had to get myself into shape, and that was fine. But it was, you get punished. But nowadays they don't do that, Andrew. They don't run any distance now. I don't get it how they can open up. I don't see why they don't. See, like the boy Roger, he couldn't last a game, and they were taking him off after an hour. And I'm saying, why don't they get him to Strathclyde Park and open his lungs up and give the boy a chance? Paddy McCourt was another one. I'm thinking, why don't they try different training if the modern one's not working? I just think there was nothing better for us. I hated it. But there was nothing better for us going to Strathclyde Park and opening our lungs and getting out. And, I think it was, it boded as well for the season.
I know you liked the night out and you enjoyed it.
No.
But you took playing seriously and, because you wouldn't have played at the level you did, Macca. You played in the top flight in England and you finished third. Could have won the league that year. As we mentioned earlier, a double with Celtic in a very competitive league with a big spending Rangers. You also represented Scotland under Alex Ferguson, who doesn't take much shy. You were Scottish Player of the Year in 1982 while cutting your teeth at St Mirren, where one Tommy Bones used to wind you up.
Aye, that certainly did. Well, I used to play in midfield, and I played in the, I was playing the right, left this time because Billy Stark was playing the right, and for some reason Tommy was over against me, and Tommy, all right, Macca, and he was great. God rest him. Celtic are looking at you. I'm saying, what? Celtic are watching you there. This is it, and going up, and every time we were on attack, going, and I'd be running up attack, and he wouldn't come with me. Big Packy would get the ball and fling it out to him, and he'd set the attack off, and I was getting dog's abuse off my coaching staff. They used to just have me wound up with fever pitch. Go and do something. I was like a wee boy. Calling him Mr. Burns. What a guy. It was great. And just that laugh, it's infectious, the laugh that he's got. So it was brilliant. God rest him.
No, and I know like the tabloids played on your off the field antics and that, but we spoke before, but you took your football serious.
I mean, listen, you speak to any player. I'm the only player. Apparently, I'm against his book of records. I'm the only player that's played for 3 clubs twice, and no one else has done that. There's a lot of players went to 2 clubs, signed twice for 2 clubs, but not 3. So obviously, I couldn't have been that bad. But the thing was, I liked to party. I did, but in the right times, and if I wasn't ready for the game, my teammates would. It's not like today, like nobody says anything. My teammates wouldn't have. Mick McCarthy, Roy Aitken, Tommy Burns, they would not have let me off there if I didn't give 110%. So my antics during the week or at the weekends after, they forgive me for all that because I would run more than anyone in the game, and Andy Walker will tell you, he loved it because he didn't have to move. I would do all the running. So as Andy said, I'd beat 3 players and give it to him, and he would score. So he got a lot of goals.
He got the bonus.
That was a bonus, yeah. So he wasn't worried about it. So yeah, it was one of them. I've heard all the stories, Andrew. I mean, we've spoken about it. I'd like to have done half the things I'm supposed to have done.
Like at one stage, I thought your manager was Peter Stringfellow or your agent or something because you were fixing in the paper that much with him.
I know he was going to open one in Scotland, and he says I was to get it. I was running it for him. Listen, Peter was all right. He taught me a few things, Peter used to walk about with a champagne glass, and it was just water that was in it. First and foremost, he was a businessman. Don't get me wrong, I had a few drinks with him, proper drinks, but he was a businessman. Made a lot of money.
Now, talking about proper managers, back to the football, because I don't want to know any more about Jenny Blythe. You can tell me when we're not on record. Now, Neil Lennon has the respect of the current crop of players. There's no doubt about that, as did Brendan, right? But he has a leader in his captain. Now, in Scott Brown, you had massive respect for two managers in particular. John Loyle, who you played for twice, and Billy McNeil. John Loyle, of course, was your manager at West Ham. You played with some great players. You named a few of them there. How important, when you have a manager like this, how important is the captain to him? And how important is Scott Brown to Neil Lennon?
It's very important. I mean, someone asked me in one of these Zooms last week, somebody said to me, what would the Centenary team do against the team today? I says, I think it'd be a good game, because to sum it up, you're talking about captains. We had 10 captains out play. We had 11 captains on the pitch. I says, for outfield players, we had 10 Scott Browns, if you know what I mean. We could get our foot in and we could get the boys round about us to play. Every one of us were like that. And that's what Billy got in the team. He signed me and he made a couple of signings. It was proper. It was good Celtic supporters. So he got that extra 10%, which was good enough to go and do that. I think I don't see where the captain's going to go. I know that McGregor's been captain and he's not the kind of boy. He's no Scott. I think Scott's the glue that brings that whole team together. I can see Sham. I thought he was going to be Scott's replacement. And I think Scott likes playing with him in the midfield because every time Sham's playing, Scott seems to score. So he gives him the freedom to go forward. Whereas if he's playing with Christie and McGregor, wonderful players as they are, they don't contribute to too much defending. If you know what I mean, they're great going forward. Whereas Sham can sit in and let Scott go, and that's where he's got his goals recently. He texts me and says, everyone thinks I'm a forward now.
I don't think so.
Brilliant. I mean, everyone keeps writing him off and he keeps showing them. It'll be wonderful for him and Forrest to get to have, what a statement for them. People were saying to me when I congratulated Scott because he's matched my gaffer. My gaffer was Bill McNeil and he done the 9 with the Lions and all that. So I know football's changed, but Scott deserved a bit of credit because he's been there and he's the captain and he's matched my gaffer. So that's why I said congratulations to Scott for being there. With no disrespect to Jamesy Forrest, but Scott's the man and James has come in and to be fair, Brendan got the best out of Forrest and he's kicked on again because I thought he was leaving and I think everyone else did. And then Brendan came in and kicked him on and he's a wonderful player that we've got and he's made that wide right his own, which is great. It's good. He's a captain, but I don't know who else is going to take over from him, Andrew. I mean, I don't know. You could give. I'm not so happy about giving. I don't know about Julian. I don't know. McGregor got it at one point, but I don't think he's strong enough, is he, to get the captaincy? I know Paul McStay wasn't strong, and he led by example. He done it, and he would just get his sleeves rolled up and go and put a shift in or make a tackle and do something, to get everyone going again. So maybe Cam could do that. But yeah, I just think that there's going to be a big miss when Scott finally hangs his boots up. But I think he'll be the next coach at Celtic. I think he's him and Lenny could be a great double act. I think. I know John Kennedy's there with the boy Strachan now, but what? I think Lenny, I don't know if he can talk to these boys, some of the problems. Lenny's he's a ginger-haired Irishman. I mean, he blows his fuse a few times. So, and I don't know if John can sit in the room when he blows his sometimes when Lenny shouts and balls at a player, you need somebody to go in and put their arm around somebody and say, look, the gaffer's right. And, do you know what I mean? You need that go-be. I don't know if John can do that. Wonderful coach that he is. I don't know if he's got that in his locker to go in and say, look, the gaffer's right, but come on, just get your chin up and and take it and go out there and show them. You know what I mean? It's just I think you need somebody to do that in the dressing room. I think Lenny's missing that at the moment. And
obviously you've been in that dressing room. There was huge pressure that season, the Centenary season, as there was in the team to stop the 9 in a row. This probably season now is the biggest since then, with pressure-wise.
Yes. Well, listen, if you can't handle it, you shouldn't be playing for Celtic. I knew when I signed what the season was, what we were going into. I knew as soon as I get knocked out of the League Cup, he came and signed me. Big Billy. So, if he'd have done it a week earlier, we may have won the treble that year, but no. Only kidding. No, listen, he done what he done, and I heard that he fought to get me, which is great, because it's great to feel that you're playing with pressure. As a Celtic supporter, I knew the pressure. The fans desperate for us. I think there's only 4 teams won the league in the Centenary year in world football, so 4 or 5 teams, I don't know. What it used to be, I don't know about now. But and it was Barcelona and all that kind of stuff, the big guns, So Celtic's in good company again. But this season, the boys are, it's immortality. Tommy Byrne said to me, we will always be remembered for the Centenary year. The boys in this season will be forever mentioned, as one of the greatest teams, because, next to the Lisbon Lions, I would imagine, because of the pressure they're going into. The fans think they just turn up and go, but there's a lot of pressure. And, I think the boys they're set up for it. I think I think they'll go again this year. I don't see, as I said at the beginning, I don't see any signings that's going to scare me as a supporter. I think Celtic will make a couple of signings. I definitely do. But it'll be signings to improve the team. It will not be squad players. I think we've got enough squad players. We don't need squad players. We need boys that can walk in. We don't need one. This is too important a year. We don't need, one for the future.
No more projects for the moment.
No, we've got enough for the future. So we need somebody that's going to help the team this year. That's what we need.
You mentioned signings there. Now, you can maybe throw some light on this. Both Rangers and Arsenal were said to be interested in yourself, okay? And you allegedly turned both of them clubs down.
Yeah.
Your emotional connections with both West Ham and Celtic. Mm-hmm. Is that true that both come in for you?
Yeah. Well, not at the same time. It was, I was going to World Cup with Graham Souness, and he asked me when he told me he was just about to take over, and that's why there was a lot of politics. That's why Fergie dropped him, because at the time Fergie didn't get him. Didn't have the Man United job at that time, and he wanted the Rangers job. And of course, with Graham buying Rangers with Murray, he was going to be the manager. So Fergie dropped him in one of the games, didn't he? And Graham told me, I was sharing a room with him, he told me he was going to drop him, and I couldn't believe him. How somebody could be so petty, because he was one of the best players we had. I know Paul was getting primed to take over from him, but I think the two of them could have easily played in the midfield together for the last couple of years. That's how highly I rated Paul, but he dropped him in the one game that you would want Graham Souness in your team against a team like Uruguay. He asked me, because I shared the room with him because Kenny wasn't there, and he asked me if I would sign. I said no, and then he made an offer. It was one of them. He told me no money. They didn't have any money, and I said, give me £1 million. But you know me, Andrew. It was just I'm not a politician. I knew I had 3 weeks to stay in a room, and I didn't want to be so uncomfortable. But it was one of them, and then he made an approach to West Ham, and John Lyall said to me, and I said, tell him the answer's still no. So it was, and then he signed Judas. So I mean, it wouldn't have been as bad for me because I wasn't at Celtic when they offered me. So I would have been going from West Ham, which, although he says it, I understood what he wanted. He says it had to be me, Charlie Nicholas, or Mo Johnson, because it had to be a high-profile Catholic. So that was because he wanted to try and break down that barrier. That worked, didn't it?
You mentioned Judas there, or Mo Johnson, as he's known as. Okay, Mo went for money. There's no doubt about that, right? But were you surprised or shocked?
It sort of it glimpsed something. Listen, it was £500,000 a difference. The biggest problem with the fans, if he hadn't got his photo took with the Celtic strip on, it may not have been as bad. It still have been bad because the fans loved him at Celtic, no doubt about it. But it wouldn't have been as bad. It was the fact that he got his photo took one day. Now that's down to Celtic as well. They shouldn't have done that. They shouldn't have paraded him, because that afternoon, Graham Souness come in with £500,000 more. It's a lot of money. I wouldn't have, it didn't matter to me the money, but Mo was money orientated, and I thought, you know what, I suppose in his own way, once he signed for Rangers, he knew he had to stay in America. So, or he had to be, he'll not be able to stay anywhere here in this country, I don't think, because, you know, the fans don't forget. And it's a shame, you know, because it's a football game, you know. I think what he done was wrong. But he's got to live with that. It's his problem now.
Sorry, Mag, when you look in the dressing room that you played at, like, and you look around, and, you know, Tommy Bones, Paul McStay, yourself, you know, and many others had come from, you know, a traditional Celtic background, you know.
Yeah.
Like, there must have been some amount of voice raised in that dressing room when he did finally sign. Like, the conversation must have been basically, what the fuck?
The boys got him out. I think the boys got him out. I think what you've got to do is just concentrate on yourself. You've got to concentrate in your own team. You know, it was one of them, you know, big Mick, Roy, you know. I would have liked it, but you know what Roy's like. He's a big boy. I'll let him know in the park what he felt about it. But Roy's he's a gentleman off it. So the boys just got on with it. Nothing. They were, you know, they were looking forward to Mo come back, apparently.
A few sneaky kicks.
Oh, of course they would have. But, you know, and I've seen a couple of games after it, and, you know, some of the boys were leaving their foot in, and Judas was giving it that. Judas, I've gone with he was giving it all that smile, so he's that big cheesy grin. So, yeah, it was one of them. I think I'd have given him a kick myself if I was playing.
Now, here, I'm going to stay with your career, and maybe a big, massive turning point in your career when you were down at West Ham the second time. Chris Kamara broke your leg. Well documented. Someone has said, or you have said in the past, he denies it. Did he stand over you when you were lying on the ground and call you bastard? Yeah,
everyone thinks it was because of the tackle that I was shouting at him when I was getting stressed off. It wasn't. And I know Chris, and he obviously didn't realise how bad I was hurt. You know, and he was saying, "Get up, you got to see this is a man's game." And that's what annoyed me, because my leg was snapped in two. And I'm thinking nobody would have said that if he'd have seen my leg, because there was a cover on it. It was that bad. So listen, it is what it is. I was shouting at him because of that. It wasn't because of the tackle. I think he tried to put me out that game. I don't think anyone tries to put anyone out of the game. I wouldn't, especially Chris, you know. He tried to put me out of the game because I was obviously marked by their team, you know, as keep me quiet, you know, and nobody mentioned Chris because he's the one, we want him on the park, you know, because he'd have gave us it. No, listen, I know, I've got a problem with him.
Do you think you were never going to reach the heights again then when you came back?
Listen, I came back, and I got to be honest with you, I was maybe 85%, 85%. You know, I put myself through it. I was out for it. It wouldn't have been as bad if an ex-manager of mine never took me in a road run. The first day training took me in a 4-mile road run. After I broke my leg, broke my ankle, and snapped my ligaments. And Christmas Day, Lou McCarry took me in a 4-mile road run, and my leg just swollen up again. And I'll never forgive him for it, you know, because it was just spiteful. He's not a manager. What a wonderful player he was, but he's not a manager. He was hopeless as a manager. I had him at West Ham and Celtic, and, you know, and I wouldn't wish his management style on anyone. Yeah, well, it is documented that Lou McCarry's time at Celtic wasn't exactly a success. He was never there. He was always at racing, and he was hopeless. He was hopeless. But we all got him, you know, said to the board and all that down at West Ham. We tried to get him sacked down there, so he had a grievance against me. But it was a nightmare. He tried to put me when I broke my leg. We were playing Stoke, and instead of getting us to London, I went to the accident emergency in Stoke. My leg was snapped all over the place. The guy said to me, "Your career's finished. You'll never walk straight again." And of course, you know me. I says, "Who the F are you?" I said, so Ray Stewart was with me. I says, phone the physio. And I got the team bus to come and pick me up. I said, if my career's finished, I want somebody in London to tell me, because they were the top boys. So they took me to the hospital that's associated with one of the teams in London, and Rodings Hospital. Like 2 o'clock in the morning, this surgeon came in, and I told him, and he says, I'll sort it out for you. And I said, well, play football again? He says, yeah, of course you will. Now, if I'd have stayed in Stoke, which McCarry wanted me to do, you know, I would have been, because it's only an accident, an emergency, they'd have put me in, and it would have been some Joe Blogg that had fixed my leg, and I wouldn't have been right. Whereas, you get what you pay for, I suppose. So, but I was raging because McCarry wasn't interested in me as a person, as a guy. Wanted to leave me. My family were in Glasgow and London, and he wanted me to stay in Stoke. I mean, I wouldn't stay in Stoke. I wouldn't even go there for a night out. You know what I mean? Why stay there for a week in hospital?
So can I rewind a bit, Macca? So was Liam Brady that signed you the second time for Celtic?
Yes.
You must be fucking delighted when Lou McCarry was coming back up the road.
Well, when I couldn't believe it when I was there. Yeah, I couldn't believe it because I knew. But, I'm going to tell you something. I can't remember his name. Who was the assistant manager? Frank Connor was taking the team in between them. We were playing Rangers at Ibrox on Saturday. McCarry came in. And Frank was taking us for the week before it. And I think we played Falkirk. Me and Charlie Nick were playing all right. We're having a laugh. Anyway, Frank got everyone set up for the game on Saturday. I couldn't play. I was injured. He got everyone set up and it was brilliant. I had it tactically and everything. McCarry came in. Obviously, he thought we were going to get battered with Rangers. And he came in and leaving it to Frank. Frank's going to help take over on Sunday after the game. And we beat him 2-1 at Ibrox. McCarry took a press conference. Can you believe that? Can you believe that? That's the kind of guy he was. So, and of course, I've called him out now.
Indeed, you have.
Oh, yeah. I felt sorry for Frank. I mean, he'd done everything right, and it was one of them.
Yeah, I chatted to Paul Bone on the podcast a couple of weeks ago, and Paul was very complimentary of Frank.
Frank Connor, yeah. Well, even Paul, I mean, when he was there, there was a couple of people that owned horses and they were very heavy up in Glasgow and all that. And they were in the office and McCarry was trying to get Paul to sign a contract. And I went in and told him to get out and told McCarry he's a disgrace to football and all that. I said, that young boy, you're trying to bully him into a contract. So I'd done that for Paul, but I'd have done it for anyone because I didn't like McCarry. I just wanted him to say something to me.
So definitely not your favourite manager, not the best manager you played under.
Not even a manager. I wouldn't even call him that. Honestly, he's an embarrassment to football. What a player he was. And his coaching method was you get the ball to the byline, you kick it as high as you can, and you've got one bounce to catch it before the halfway line. That's his training. It was hopeless.
People can't see you, Macca, but I can see you during this interview. They won't be able to see you, and I can see how upset you're getting. So I'll move on, and I won't even mention Alex Ferguson.
No, he was the same. But do you know what it was when we went to World Cup with Fergie? The press. You know what he's like with the press. So the press took me and Charlie Nick. Now, anyone who knows anything about football, myself and Charlie Nick would probably, if you manufactured two players to play together, it would be me and Charlie. We were sort of made to play with each other. Charlie wanted everything his feet. I'll do it. I'll do the running. And so the press took me and Charlie away and says, "This is the two boys that's going to shoot us to the next stage of the World Cup and all that." And Fergie says, "Press don't pick my team," and that's what it was. So I get to blame it, and I get dropped out, probably because I went out a couple of times. But to be fair, we had such a good time going to the World Cup. I forgot what I was doing. We had that many nights out en route to the World Cup. I forgot what I was there for. It was okay, but we got there, and I wasn't happy. You know me now, Andrew. When I get told that I wasn't playing the first game, and he was playing Paul Sturrock. Now I had scored 28 goals in the Premiership that year. And Fergie said to me, he saw my face, I was raging. And he said, "What's the matter with you?" I said, "Paul Sturrock's not scored 28 goals in his career." never mind in a season. So it didn't, all the boys busted laughing. And I didn't mean to disrespect Paul. I was just annoyed because, I should have been playing before Paul, that's for sure.
Yeah, Maga, there was I'll nip back to the club here. Probably first time round at Celtic, you lived every young Celtic fan's dream, lifting cups, scoring goals. Second time you come back, then the club's the club's about to be taken over. There's the manager's not to your liking. There's the rebuilding then that happens when Fergus McCann comes in. from basically playing second best or third best to being the top dog now for 9 years. No one could have foreseen in the 90s when Frank McAvennie came in.
Well, Celtic, I mean, listen, we all know Celtic. And I'm still a supporter, but I shouldn't have left, to be honest with you. I should have left, the situation. It just didn't give me... Once we'd won the league, I was basically told I was to get my money. That was due. So it was a hard time. And it was the old board. It had nothing to do with the new board. I spoke to Peter about it, Peter Lovehone, and saying it's so much respect for the way it's run now. And people give Peter a hard time, but it's run great. There's money in the bank, and I think he's done ever so well. But in the days, I just never get the money. So, and what we should have done is build on. We should have built on what we just won the double. We should have built on that. Instead of getting rid of players, we should have brought better players in. It was a strange one, It was strange because when I went back, some of the players were still there, but it was. Liam Brady was the manager, but I wasn't fit, and he brought me in to play him. He says, strikers were on, so he says, can you give me an hour tonight? And I says, yeah, okay, no worries. It was absolutely teaming down at Airdrie in the cup, and it was absolutely soaking. It was me and Tommy Coyne up front, and but we're sitting before the game. Andrew, I thought we were playing Real Madrid. The way Liam was going through their team. And I'm looking at Paul McStay and Roy, and I'm going, what? I just couldn't believe that he was doing all his tactics for Airdrie. And I thought, well, this is the future of the game. And I stood up and says, it's effing Airdrie. I said, just go out and beat them. And that got I closed the meeting down. But the boys knew what I was saying. I mean, we don't have to worry about Airdrie. It doesn't matter what kind of team you put out. You meet John Collins and all that in the team. We had a good team. We just need structured, and it was. We went out. We won 1-0, but it was the game shouldn't have been played. To be honest with you, it was teaming it down. But that was it. That was it. Welcome to the future of football. Then all these tactics, and Big Bully used to have all these tactics as well, but we didn't call them that. When I was at West Ham, we used to play lead from the front. High press and all that they call it now. We've done that down at West Ham. We've done it at Celtic, and playing with the five in the back, filling the midfield up. But you've got to have players that can do that, 3 centre-halves. We had Rogie and Chris Morris who could bomb forward at any time of the day. They love getting forward, and they can also get back and defend. And, you've got to have players that can fit into that system. I think a lot of managers now just try and get players to play in that position, whereas they can't really, a couple of things that Lenny's done, put McGregor at left back. It's talk about taking a player out of his comfort zone.
I think Brendan Rodgers done it as well.
Aye, I know. Listen, he's a wonderful midfield player. I know players can play. Johnny Hayes can play a lot of places, and he's better at left back than what McGregor is, because you're taking poor Callum. He didn't know what to do. He didn't know when to run out or when to stay, and he's never played there before. So. But there's players that you can play and put people in there. We couldn't have put anyone else, Anton Rogan was magnificent at left back, and Chris Morris, he used to bomb down by Joe Mullen. Rogie used to run by Tommy, and if he get caught out, Tommy would sit in left back, or Joe would go into right back, and I'd go into midfield. We worked as a team. They don't do that nowadays, I don't think, Andrew. They just everyone's for themselves,
You speak there, Mark, about, that team. You've just so many good memories of it, and the names, every Celtic fan knows all the names. If you could go back in time, Mark, would the cup final be the highlight?
Well, yeah. No, probably that was a highlight, because it was a big thing with Thatcher coming up and all that, and it was it was one of the nicest days. Too hot for football, we should have been lying in a beer garden with a pint. That's what we should have been in that kind of weather. But it was brilliant, and I've never seen so many fans out with so many colours. It was just an incredible day. So yeah, that. But I liked my second game against Rangers, where I scored the 2 against them, because my first game, Big Bully, the last thing he said to me was, "Don't get involved." And 14 minutes later, sent off. Charles went inciting a riot, breach of the peace. Don't get much better than that, does it? He couldn't even beat us in court that year, Andrew. It was brilliant.
And here, Maga, just when you hit that goal, the first one of the two against Rangers, you know, like you know your family's watching, you know your mates are watching, you know your teammates. Yeah. For a boy that grew up supporting Celtic, that hits the back of the net. Is that just it? This is, I've made it now. You know, if I die tomorrow, that's it. I'm happy.
Yeah, that was it. It was one of them. It was a game. It was massive. It was the first time we all shook each other's hand and all that. It was the first time it happened in football because of what happened at Ibrox. And it was embarrassing because we didn't wanted to shake hands. You know, we all shake hands after it. Nobody wants to shake hands before a game. It's a bit of nonsense. And as I say, I've never focused so much on one game. I was up for it. I was really up for it. I was psyched up. There was no carry on before it. It was just I've probably never focused so much in a game than what I did that game. So it was great to score, and then to score against the conductor. Roberts was because I mean we got the centre halves. I can't remember who was injured, but Lex Bailey came in. So there was Lexi. So we were, Lexi came in, and Lex Bailey came in at centre half. And what a job he done! He was brilliant, and he put a knee into Chris Woods' rib. And he had to go off, so the conductor Graham Roberts had to go in. And then when I scored the header, it was I don't even think Chris would have got that, to the header. So it was so far up in the corner. So, and even now, I'm going to say this, but as soon as I scored the second goal, the whole place erupted with "Happy Birthday Celtic," and it was just incredible to think, had something to do with that. It was good.
And you know what, Maka, I'm going to leave the conversation here. It's been an absolute pleasure to chat about the current team and about some of your own memories, and hopefully we'll get you back on again. But hopefully before then we can get a few beers in Glasgow.
Oh, mate, the beer gardens are open. So when are you coming up to start your thing again? Do you know? And
we don't know. We're just as soon as at the moment we can't travel out of the country. Well, we can, but we have to go into isolation when we come back. So, but I reckon that's going to be.
Is that right? Do you have to do that over there? Do you?
I reckon it's going to be lifted within the next couple of weeks. There's going to be an air bridge to certain countries that we can travel to. And as soon as that happens, Macca, but if Celtic are playing home or away, it'll be over.
It'll be over. Brilliant. Look forward to catching a beer with you, big man.
Yeah, it's always a pleasure, Macca. Listen, thanks very much and keep walking that dog.
Take care, buddy.
Cheers, pal.
See you later, mate.
Thanks once again to Macca for taking the time out to chat to me. His book, Scoring an Expert Guide, is an excellent read and I highly recommend it. It's all about his life on and off the pitch, which is more than colourful. Thanks once again to everyone who visited our website, CelticFanzine.com. Thanks to everyone who bought subscriptions for the fanzine for the upcoming season. We are moving platforms for the digital edition. Anyone who has subscribed will continue to get the digital copy until the current subs finishes, and then you'll be able to switch platforms. Thanks also to everyone who bought one of our t-shirts. The new original Glasgow Celtic hoodie is our latest addition to the online shop, where we're adding new stock and designs each week. Your support means we can continue to create free content and free live events as we move closer to returning to a new kind of normality and getting back to Glasgow. The podcast is available on all platforms, Apple, Acast, Spotify, so please subscribe and follow us so you never miss an episode. And also please follow us on Facebook, Instagram and Twitter, where we're running a couple of little competitions and you get into a chance to win a t-shirt or some badges or some tickets for upcoming games when we get back into the stadiums. Thanks again to our sponsor, the Rue Glen Country Club. If your business or Celtic Supporters Club would like to support us or sponsor an episode, please get in contact. You can email us at info@celticfanzine.com. Special thanks once again to our producer, Ronan McQuillan, and to you, the listeners. Thanks for all the comments. Keep them coming in, and don't forget to let us know your story or who you would like us to get in the podcast. A big shout out to anyone who's given us a review. We really appreciate it. I see plenty of the pubs and beer gardens are back open now in Glasgow, and we are all looking forward to getting back to do some live shows and sinking a few pints in our favourite watering holes. We'll be back on Friday with episode 13, when my guest will be Matt McGlowan, editor of the Alternative View Celtic fanzine and the founder of the Celts for Change group. So I'm really looking forward to chatting with Matt and catching up. Keep the faith and stay safe, and soon we will be back watching the Celtic and then hopefully we'll get the nod. Not sure if it'll be full crowds or half crowds, but hopefully we'll get the nod to return to paradise. Enjoy your week and listen in on Friday.